Did your grandparents ever tell you that they could buy a complete meal for only 1 peso back when they were younger?
What? A complete meal for only 1 peso?
Indeed, it can be quite difficult to imagine, since 1 peso today could only buy you a piece of candy, food, rent, utilities, and basically everything else have gone up compared to several decades ago. The movement of prices of goods and services over time is referred to as inflation. Now, how is inflation measured? The Philippine Statistics Authority releases inflation data every first week of the month for the public to be aware of just how much prices have changed compared to a year ago. Experts measure inflation by looking at a basket of goods which contain what the typical Filipino consumes on a regular basis. Such goods are food and non-alcoholic beverages, alcoholic beverages and tobacco, clothing and footwear, housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels, furnishing, household equipment, and routine maintenance of the house. This long list of goods enterprises comprise the Consumer Price Index or CPI. The annual percentage change in the CPI is then used to measure inflation. This is the graph of Consumer Price Index from April 2020 to April 2021 using 2012 as the base reference year. How do we read this graph? For example, in April 2021, it has CPI of 127.7. If our reference year is 2012 with a 100 CPI, this just means that the price of goods in April 2021 is more expensive by 27.7% compared to the price of goods in 2012. What causes inflation? Inflation may be driven either by supply or demand. Supply-driven or cost-push inflation happens when the cost of producing goods, the prices of raw materials, and wages go up. On the other hand, demand pull inflation occurs when people's demand outpaces the ability of industries to supply goods. What are the effects of inflation in the Philippine economy? Inflation's effects on the Philippine economy are various and can be simultaneously positive and negative. First, let's talk about the good side of inflation. One of the positive effects of inflation in the Philippine economy is what we call the labor market adjustment. Nominal wages are slow to adjust downwards. This can lead to prolonged disequilibrium and high unemployment in the labor market. Since inflation allows real wages to fall even if nominal wages are kept constant, moderate inflation enables labor markets to reach equilibrium faster. Another positive impact of inflation is it provides the economy the room to maneuver. The primary tools for controlling the money supply are the ability to set the discount rate, the rate at which banks can borrow from the central bank, and open market operations, which are the central bank's interventions into the bonds market with the aim of affecting the nominal interest rate. If an economy finds itself in a recession with already low or even zero nominal interest rate, then the bank cannot cut these rates further in order to stimulate the economy. This situation is known as a liquidity trap. A moderate level of inflation tends to ensure that nominal interest rates stay sufficiently above zero so that if the need arises, the bank can cut the nominal interest rate. On the other hand, inflation also has negative connotation, and one of it is it causes hoarding. People buy durable and or non-perishable commodities and other goods as stores of wealth to avoid the losses expected from the declining purchasing power of money, thus creating shortages of the hoarded goods. Inflation also causes social unrest and revolts. For example, in 2016, thousands of farmers and their supporters blockaded the Davao-Cotabato Road in Kidapawan, North Cotabato. A day prior to the road blockade, 500 farmers protested in front of the National Food Authority office in Kidapawan to air their grievances. The demonstration ended violently with at least 3 deaths on the side of the protesters and a total of 116 injured on both sides after the police dispersed the mass action. The Philippines remains to be one of the high inflation among Asian countries. The inflation rate for consumer prices in the Philippines moved over the past 40 years between 0.7% and 50.3%. For 2019, an inflation rate of 2.5% was calculated. During the observation period from 1979 to 2019, the average inflation rate was 8.6% per year. Overall, the price increase was 2,312.82%. An item that cost 100 pesos in 1979 was so charged 2,412.82 pesos in the beginning of 2020. In the Philippine context at least, inflation is still regarded as a clear and present danger to macroeconomic stability.